Chiefs Kingdom, we appreciate you watching here on the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jason Andrews, and the Chiefs have made some roster moves. Now, obviously, Skyy Moore was put onto IR yesterday, which actually opened up a spot. Well, the Chiefs did exactly what they needed to do and filled it with a wide receiver because the wide receiver room has been a struggle this year, to say the least. You've had Darius Harris dropping passes. You've had a lot of losses that maybe could have been avoided if your wide receivers were maybe a little better. Well, guess what? We get a wide receiver back the Chiefs had and liked in the preseason and then was out for a little bit. Actually, it's going to be Justyn Ross who comes back. As with Skyy Moore going on IR, they put Justyn Ross, who they was removed from the exemption list, as he takes the spot. So if you don't know why Ross was not on the roster until now, well, let's kind of give you a full update of what exactly happened. So Ross was actually arrested on October 23rd following a domestic disturbance involving a woman and then placed on the commissioner's exempt list and has been unable to practice or play until last week when he was officially removed from the exemption list, and that 6-game suspension that he had been given actually ended up being taken off as he had served those 6 games. Now, he's played in 7 games this season. The Chiefs are actually 6-1 in those games, funny enough. He only has 3 receptions for 34 yards, though, so you can't really expect him to do that much. But at the same time, this wide receiver depth chart has been something that has come from not the great place. I mean, Rashee Rice is wide receiver 1, and then I don't really know that there's a wide receiver 2. You have Darius Harris in that role in the MVS and Justin Watson, but I don't think there's a clear wide receiver 2. It's very obvious Rashee Rice has taken over that 1. From there's a lot of different names. Now, Richie James has come back from injury. You have Justyn Ross now back on there, but obviously you still see Skyy Moore, who just popped up to IR. He's out for the rest of the regular season. And then Mecole Hardman, he's actually still on injured reserve, but he actually could be next. And depending on how the dice rolls, how everything kind of falls into place, well, he may force the Chiefs to make another hard decision because he actually started his practice window this week. Now, he was placed on IR ahead of Week 12 with that thumb injury, and now we're past Week 16. So that 4 weeks has passed. They can open up his practice window technically tomorrow when the Chiefs have their first practice. Actually, they play Monday, so they actually may not open it till Thursday. We'll have to kind of see what exactly happens here with Andy Reid and whether he decides to take Mecole Hardman and start that 21-day practice window. We saw with Nick Bolton when he was placed on IR. They took him off that, they put him in that practice window, but did not play him the first week. Now, he technically doesn't have to take a roster spot with that, so you can put him on there and just let him practice while still being on the IR for those 21 days. We will see what the decision is. I would have to expect, in my mind, they probably will not bring him back this week just because if they added Justyn Ross, then there's no reason to just put on Mecole Hardman and cut somebody else. That would make no sense. So I think it's pretty obvious at this point. Justyn Ross will at least be on the roster this week. And then there is a scenario when Mecole Hardman comes back and he kicks Justyn Ross off. I mean, there is a scenario where that happens. Do I think that'll happen? No, just because of the wide receiver woes. And there is a lot. There's also, Chiefs have a lot of wide receivers. I will say that. It would be 7 if they add on with Mecole Hardman. So it is something to note. But at the same time, they have had 7 wide receivers on the roster before. I would not be surprised to see that again if they decide to move somebody else to the practice squad, cut somebody else, kind of a lot of different things. They made some other roster moves too, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. But can Ross and Hardman help the Chiefs? Type Y for yes if you think they can help the Chiefs. Type N for no. Let me know. Can Justyn Ross, and Mecole Hardman, when they come back, help this Chiefs team with the wide receiver woes and all the things that has happened this year in that room? Now, the wide receiver room continues to change, not just with roster moves, but with the way that they kind of use everybody, which is exactly the next topic, as we're going to talk about that here in just a minute with the roster moves, as it wasn't just Justyn Ross getting added. There was one other thing, or rather 2 other things that happened. Plus, there was a wide receiver usage update on how everybody is going to be used. We'll tell you all about that in a second, and it may be useful information to know for your prize picks that you should make sure to put in this weekend as the Chiefs take on the Raiders for Monday football, Christmas football, and Prize Picks is the place you want to go to have some extra fun while watching the games. Now, it's pretty simple. You pick 2 or more players. You can go 2 to 6. You pick more or less on their Prize Picks projection, and then you choose flex or power play depending on what exactly you are confidently going to put on the game. Here's my Prize Picks for the Monday game, Christmas. I'm going to put one in early. I may have another one later on in the week, so make sure to keep watching. You can kind of either fade me or you can roll with me here. I've got Travis Kelce on the more of receiving yards, 69.5. He hasn't had a great game in terms of receiving last week, and then he hasn't scored a touchdown yet. 70 seems like a lock with the Christmas game. It just seems like a game that Mahomes and Kelce are going to connect multiple times, which is why I add Mahomes to that entry. I go the more on his passing yards. And then Davante Adams, I go the more on his receiving yards. I think it's going to be an offensive-heavy game. Plus, last time the Raiders and the Chiefs played, not only did Davante Adams not have a great game, but Josh Jacobs did. So the Chiefs will probably be focusing more on the run than the pass. Therefore, Davante Adams might actually have a decent game. Now, PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America, and it's the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. Now, again, you can check it out at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. Now, it's easy because instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player step projections, and you watch the winnings roll in. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Once again, go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. Shout out to PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy sports easy, and because we love you, we're going to put that in the description, and we're going to put that in the comments, that link for your $100 deposit match. Go check it out right now on PrizePicks. A couple other roster moves to talk about here on the Chiefs Report, as along with Justyn Ross and Rashee James, we're going to talk about the wide receiver room. So here's the thing. With Ross coming back, it doesn't change much in terms of usage right now. Now, there's a lot of things that I wanted to talk about. The thing that I think this tweet you need to look at is this last little bit right here. Richie has to play more than 2 snaps. That's my responsibility. I have to have him in on more stuff. I agree. Why is Rashee James playing 2 snaps? I took a look at the snap count here versus the Patriots. You have Rashee Rice at 60, which, by the way, was an absolute great thing, which we will kind of dive in here in a second. Then we got Justin Watson, 44, Kadarius Toney, 26, MVS, 22, Skyy Moore, 16, and then Rashee James, just 2 snaps. Yet, guess what? He had a reception. In fact, he had more yards than Kadarius Toney and Skyy Moore, and he only had 2 snaps on offense. That's kind of wild. Like, I know he's the punt and kick returner, but you got to put him out there for more. He had a reception. Maybe he's the guy that can come in here and save it. Now, did he have a drop earlier this year? Yes. But at the same time, so is everybody. Just put him out there. They didn't drop one last week. Kadarius Toney did. May as well use him. And I think that is a good portion to where you could actually use somebody that maybe could provide value that you don't even realize just yet. Now, Rashee Rice with the 60 snaps. I want to dive back into that because he is finally officially wide receiver 1. Now, the yardage had been there. The targets had been there. All that had been there. But this week, the snap percentage was finally there. We've talked about it a lot, how I know this guy's a rookie, but he is wide receiver 1. You got to play him like that. They did. Season high in snaps was 60 plus. That is 92% of the offensive plays. That means he was probably just coming off for breaks. I like that a lot. Rashee Rice is wide receiver 1 on this team, and now he's getting the snap percentage like a wide receiver 1. And this dude's just a rookie. I love what I've seen from him, and I cannot wait to see where he grows because, listen, it's year 1, and he's already putting up some great numbers. 68 receptions, almost 800 yards, closing in on that. 7 touchdowns. I'll tell you why that's important here in a second. And then average sitting just over 11 yards. When you're a rookie, averaging 11 yards per play, especially when a lot of your passes are screen passes, that's pretty good. That means the yak yards are coming in troves. Now, those 7 touchdowns, I'll tell you why that's important. That's a Chiefs rookie record. In fact, he got the record from a pass from Jerick McKinnon, not Patrick Mahomes, actually, on that little trick play back on Sunday where it was a snap to McKinnon and flipped it to Rashee Rice for the Chiefs rookie record in touchdown receptions. Now, he is really close to the rookie record for 2 others. He has 251 yards behind the rookie record for yardage at 900. He actually could be the first 1,000-yard receiver as well, not named Travis Kelce, since Tyreek Hill, if he can get 246 more yards. And then he's 3 receptions, probably going to get this week, from the rookie record for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he'll get there. And listen, I'm going to say it. It just makes sense. RR, rookie record, Rashee Rice. Come on. I mean, this is poetic stuff. Poetic stuff. Rashee Rice, rookie record. Type it in the comments. Let's get some RRs for Rashee Rice if you think he is the Chiefs wide receiver 1 for years to come, because rookie record and Rashee Rice just makes sense. let's do a double narrative here with the RR if you think Rashee Rice is the Chiefs' #1 wide receiver for years to come here in Kansas City. The more roster moves, I hinted at it a couple times, I'll finally give it to you. Here's what they did. So not only did they place wide receiver Skyy Moore on injured reserve, but they actually cleared Darius Harris, and he is free to sign with any team or back to the Kansas City practice squad. Now, Darius Harris, if you don't know who that is, he was actually put onto the squad after the Drue Tranquill concussion, Nick Bolton injury. They needed help at linebacker. He was then waived last week after Nick Bolton came back, and Drue Tranquill was added back to the squad. Now he has officially cleared waivers. I believe the plan is to sign him back to the practice squad just because the linebacker room is still, it's tough because obviously Bolton and Tranquill are healthy now, but you want to make sure you have that depth. And Darius Harris, obviously being the first one to pop up off the practice squad, you would like to keep him there. That's the plan right now, although we have no official word if that has happened just yet. The Chiefs do have one spot available. Could be Darius Harris. We will see, though, but I'll tell you what. It's the Christmas spirit. We are officially less than a week away from Christmas. So if you're excited, I want you to like the video. Listen, what are you getting from Santa? What are you getting from your parents? What are you getting from Christmas, man? It's a good time to have a good time. Plus, we're going to be live right here on the Chiefs Report for the Christmas game with the Chiefs and the Raiders. So make sure you like that video, as we really appreciate you hanging out with us here on the Chiefs Report. And as always, Merry Christmas and peace out, Chiefs Kingdom.